Hello everyone, my name is Aaron Meadows and it is the 21st century. Computers are everywhere and you need to buy a computer to stay connected to the world. Nowadays if you buy a computer it will be outdated within a few years. And then you have to go out and spend up $300 or more on another one. Or pay, for example, Staples $50 to install new components. Now that can be a little bit ridiculous when you can just upgrade it yourself. Now, I'll be going over how to install some of the common parts into your computer and how easy it can be. So the first part will be the motherboard. This is an example of a motherboard. On it, the most important part is the CPU. It's usually the biggest part and it's in the middle. On top of that is thermal paste, and then the heatsink, and then the CPU cooler, which keeps it cool. Now on the motherboard mounted is your RAM. This little stick stores all your active programs on your computer so that they run fast and you can open them. The next part will be the graphics card. This is an example. It is not necessary, but it goes in these slots down here on the computer, on the motherboard. Those are called PCI Express slots, and you can mount different cards on there, like for example sound cards or other graphics cards, to give your computer enhanced features. Now the next part is your hard drive. This is an example of a hard drive. This stores all your files on your computer, and you can reference them and your operating system. Now for the hard drive, to connect that to your motherboard, you would need a SATA cable. This transmits the data from your hard drive to your computer. And now for your case. This is an example of just a case. The case does not matter, but what's in it does. So what's pre-installed usually are PC fans. These keep air circulating through your computer to keep it cool. Also a power supply. This provides power, takes power from the wall, and then distributes it through the computer. On the power supply there's different cords. For example, there's SATA cords that power the hard drive. There's also the motherboard cables, which requires the motherboard needs a 24-pin, which is the biggest, and an 8-pin power to run. And then the graphics card does require external power, for example a 6-pin. And now we will start installing them into the computer. So the step one would be, while everything is out, take your motherboard and install the RAM. So you just take it, you line up the holes, and you push it down. Now this, it can be hard to push down until it clicks, and then it's good. And now you're ready to install it to the computer. The rest you will install once the motherboard is mounted in the computer. I'm going to tilt the computer now. And I'll take a Phillips head screwdriver and a screw. And the motherboard usually has about 6 holes to mount it into your case. And you just take it and screw it in. Now make sure it's sturdy. This is what is holding your motherboard onto your case so that it does not fall off. Alright, the next thing we do once the motherboard is installed, we can install the graphics card. It's right here. This will go in as so into the PCI Express slot. It just pops right in. So you hear a click. And then it is secured by a screw. Secured by one Phillips screw. And then once you have that tight, now you're able to install the hard drive. Alrighty. Now your hard drive is here. First thing I like to do is install the SATA cable. That just goes in like this. It only goes in one way. And I will not be mounting this, but usually you would screw it into the side into your computer case. And then this gets plugged into your motherboard. And into your clip into your SATA cord. And now we can power everything with the cords. So your motherboard requires an 8-pin and a 24-pin. That can go in, and make sure everything clicks so it has secure connections. Alright, now your graphics card, this one in particular requires a 6-pin. On some occasions they don't even need one. And now your hard drive will require a SATA cord. Take it, and that plugs in right next to the cord to the motherboard. And now you're free to lift it up. And the one last cord you need to install is the cords that come from your actual desktop, the front I/O. Now this comes out. This is what the power button uses, so that you can actually turn it on. Now that that's all installed, now we can turn it on. It requires power in the back, on the wall. And for output, we use a monitor. And then we can flip the switch on the power supply and see if it works. Alright. Now if you are finalizing this, you would want to manage the cords and keep them out of the way for airflow. You would also want to mount a hard drive and make sure everything is screwed in tightly. But as you can see on the monitor, the Windows logo is popped up and it is now starting. So that's how you install basic components, and each of those components that I just installed in about 5 minutes. It may take a computer expert, they may have your computer for hours, and it would take a lot of time. And like Vera said in the beginning, Staples charges $50 to replace just one of those components. In conclusion, this will help you save $300 minimum on a new computer every few years. Instead of upgrading, you can just upgrade one component at a time so that your computer stays updated and running quickly with no slowdowns or bottlenecks. Now everything's started up. Thank you guys for watching.